Hi, everybody. It's a new week, it's a new topic, and our new topic this week and for the next couple of weeks for our our history and our literacy, we're going to be blending them together by learning a bit about the Stone Age. And I'm going to go through a few pages on this PowerPoint about the Stone Age, and then I'm going to hand things over to you, and I'm going to ask you to do the researching. Okay, you're going to be the ones to do some research about the Stone Age, and then we can kind of all meet up back together again on one of the video calls and share what we found out about the Stone Age. Okay, so our aim is to find out about the Stone Age, to be Stone Age researchers. Okay, we've got here. What does the word prehistoric mean? Okay, what does the word prehistoric mean? Prehistoric comes from prehistory. It means a time before written records existed. Okay, and because there is no recorded history, there's nothing written down from that time. Okay, we have to look at clues left behind that archaeologists and historical professors and people who study history, they have to interpret those clues that are left behind. When was the Stone Age? The Stone Age covers a huge period of time, over 3 million years. Okay? So that's how long the Stone Age lasted. Over 3 million years. Okay? Now bear in mind, we're only in 2020, yeah? Okay? At the moment. And this was 3 million years. Okay? So it's a long, long period of time. The Stone Age starts from when the first humans, like animals, came into existence. The earliest evidence has been found in Africa. Early humans arrived in England more than 800,000 years ago, but Britain has not been constantly lived in since that time due to climate changes. Okay, so evidence of early humans in Africa, but early humans only made their way to England 800,000 years ago. Okay, because of the ice and cold temperatures during the last period of time known as the Ice Age, meant that the early humans left Britain in search of warmer climates, and all around the world really. Okay, so because of the Ice Age, early humans moved, okay, and migrated to places where there were warmer climates. At this time, Britain was not an island, so they could walk across the land into Europe and Africa. So, because of the tectonic plates, all the countries moved further and further away. But back in these days, it was a lot easier to walk to wherever we needed to go. The Stone Age is broken down into smaller time periods. Paleolithic, which is around 3 million years BC. During this long period of time, the early hominids, which is humans or close relatives to humans, Homo habilis, who used simple tools, slowly developed into modern humans we call Homo sapiens. Britain was still connected by land to France and Denmark. Then we have the Mesolithic era. People led largely nomadic lives as hunters-gatherers, constantly on the move to survive. Okay? In this time, Britain became an island. Okay? So that was 3 million years ago, and then gradually humans evolved into hunter-gatherers, okay? And they were always on the move in order to survive. Then the Neolithic period, okay, which is not as long ago. This is the time that farming began, pottery was developed, and villages were built. So why is it called the Stone Age? The Stone Age is so called because the earliest humans used stone to make tools with a sharp edge or a point. Stone was the material predominantly used for tools throughout the Stone Age. Which countries were populated? Today there are over 7 billion people in the world. Even at the peak of the Stone Age, it was likely that there were less than 5 million. Okay, even when there were the most people alive at the time, it was still no more than 5 million. About About 2 million years ago, Homo habilis appeared in eastern Africa. Okay, so there. About 1.5 million years ago, Homo erectus were living in the southern Caucasus and northern China. So this is where humans were evolving. And by 4,000 years ago, the early human population had spread to Indonesia, right there, and Europe. Okay? So this is where it all kind of started. And then when they started spreading around and around. And look, quite near the Philippines. Which is, I think, here. And then, by 27,000 years ago, they had set foot in Australia, Poland, Japan, and Siberia. Okay? It wasn't until 10,000 BC that early humans reached North and South America via the Bering Land Bridge that at the time connected Siberia to North America. What type of houses did they live in? These kind of houses, okay? Huts, caves, and the earliest houses built. This depended on the time and the country. In Britain, archaeologists have found evidence of 4 different types of dwellings, just like these. During the Paleolithic time period, when the ice came, early humans sheltered from the cold in caves. Why build your own house when there's one already available? What type of houses did they live in? Evidence found in the Howick from the Mesolithic times indicates a circular structure made from wooden posts. There are no existing houses remaining, but archaeologists have found marks in the ground that they believe were made from timber poles. The frame may have been round or conical, like a teepee. They may have used animal skin, thatch or turf to cover the frame. There was evidence for the floor was covered with layers of moss, reeds and other soft plant materials. Here we go, look, some new houses too. Evidence suggests that these houses were usually rectangular and constructed from timber in the Neolithic period. The spelling mistake there, should be from timber. None of these houses remain, but we can still see the foundations. Some houses used wattle and daub for walls and thatched roofs. There was evidence that the floor was covered with a layer of moss, reeds, and other soft plant materials. And wattle and daub is a mixture of manure, clay, mud, hay, stuck with sticks that have been woven in and out of the timber frame. Some of the houses in the Neolithic period, like those uncovered at Skara Brae, were built from stones. They were built into mounds of rubbish known as midden. These could include small stones, shells, mud, and animal bones. It would provide some stability as well as insulation. The houses were usually round, and they had beds and storage shelves at a hearth in the middle. What kind of clothes did they wear? People wore animal skins to keep them warm, sewn together using bone needles. The fine bone needles that have been found were probably used for embroidery as well. The bodies of a boy and a girl buried around 28,000 years ago in Russia were found with thousands of ivory beads and fox teeth covering them, work that would have taken years to complete. We also know that people were weaving fabric back then, which could have been used for clothes, and dyeing spun plant fibers different colours, so maybe fashion started a lot earlier than you think. What food did they eat? Animals were the main source of food. They would eat all of the animal. When all the meat was stripped off the bones would be smashed to the marrow so that the marrow could be eaten from the inside. Marrow is high in fat and would have been a very good energy source. Did you know some archaeologists believe that early humans would have cut open the stomach of an animal and eaten their last meal? Eesh, that's a bit gross. What food did they eat? Although it's thought that farming largely began in the Neolithic time, when many more plant-based foods became part of people's diets, there is evidence that people were eating foods such as beans, seeds, lentils, nuts, and grains over 23,000 years ago in the Paleolithic period. Their diet was a lot more varied than we might think, including many plants that we treat today as weeds. They may have eaten nettle leaves, hazelnuts, sunflower seeds. How did they communicate? Symbols have been found alongside cave paintings in Europe, used repeatedly in the same clusters in different caves. Similar symbols have been found on jewellery, suggesting that there was probably a communication system in existence 30,000 years ago. What did they do? Made tools and weapons, made jewellery, dug for flint, painted, like the paintings we see today in caves, prepared animal skin to make clothes, make thread from plant fibres and dyed it, hunted and gathered food, started fires to cook and keep warm, made objects out of clay, hunted and gathered food. Did you know that the domestic dog can be traced back to the Stone Age? Dogs would help with hunting. Graves have been found where dogs had been buried with tools, like they buried humans with. This tells us that dogs were treated like part of the family. Okay, now it's your turn, guys. It's your turn to start researching about the Stone Age. What can you find out? What can you tell us? I'm looking forward to hearing all the things that you found out. I would like you to try and find out at least 10 different things about the Stone Age, but if you can find out even more, fantastic.